Good evening and welcome to our regular monthly council meeting of April the 6th, 2020. We are having, this is one of several, I think we've had 3 or 4 council meetings already in this method. This is our second public council meeting using Zoom. Welcome to our regular monthly council meeting of April the 6th. How come I'm going to get to hear feedback on it? Strange. Anyway, I get to hear feedback, which is going to be a little weird. Anyway, so welcome to the council meeting. How we're running it is like we run any other council meeting. Anybody wants to ask a question during the first question period, we'll be sending their questions to questionperiod@cotesaintluc.org, and I will answer those questions at the first question period. After the council meeting, we have a second question period, which deals with items on the agenda. Throughout the meeting, you can send those questions to questionperiod@cotesaintluc.org, and they will be posted to me after the meeting, at the end of the meeting, so that I can answer them. We have with us today Councillor Erdely, Councillor Cohen, Councillor Georgeman, Councillor Burku, Councillor Sabag, Councillor Benizri, Councillor Kajavsky, and we have with us the co-city manager, Jonathan Schechter. We have with us the city manager, Tanya Abramovich. I'm looking at my screen. I also see Daryl Levine, Associate City Manager Nadia DeFuria, and our City Treasurer Angelo DeFurio. So Angelo Marino. So yes, so there we are. That is our gang that is on the screen. And we have Jason. Jason's last name? It's not on the screen. Jason Prevost, who is the city clerk. Okay. So this is our regular council meeting. We're going to go through the agenda shortly. But before question period, we'd just like to first give you a little update on the situation in Côte Saint-Luc with respect to COVID-19. Before doing so, I would like to take a moment of silence. Je vais prendre un moment de silence en honneur de toutes les personnes qui ont décédé, toutes les personnes qui ont malades, toutes les personnes qui travaillent pour nous. We're going to take a minute of silence to think of all of those that have passed, those that are ill, and pray for their recovery, and think of all of those that are working for us in all the essential services in the medical profession. These are difficult times, but we are here together as a family in Côte Saint-Luc, in Quebec, in Canada, and throughout the world. We're not alone facing this pandemic. We are in it together, no matter our religion, our ethnicity, our background, our citizenship. This is a common battle and we're working on it together. But we're very, very lucky in Quebec to have a very well organized medical system and excellent leadership at the provincial level and at the federal level that are helping us through all issues, whether it be medical, economic, whatever we need, it's being taken care of. And we're really fortunate. And in Côte Saint-Luc, we started early, and hopefully that will show results in bringing down the curve as well. Because if we can bring down the curve in Côte Saint-Luc, it will be good for the entire province. And we are all working on this together, bringing down the numbers. And how we do that is by being vigilant, by following the direction of the health authorities, by listening to them when they say we should stay home unless we have to, by maintaining social distancing, by not having visitors in our home, no matter who they might be. By taking absolute vigilant care, we will all benefit, because rather than having to wait 2 or 3 times as long to get back to our normal lives, we'll get back to those lives sooner. It's all proven by the health authorities, by the scientists, that these are the things we need to do in order to get our lives back to the normal way we've been living sooner rather than later. So I'm asking you all to be vigilant. And I know you've got my robocalls and you've got our posts and our suburban ads, and you're hearing it from the doctors and the religious leaders and the federal leaders and the provincial leaders, and everybody knows what they're supposed to do. So all I'm asking you is to do it. Vous devez respecter tous les règlements et ensemble, on va gagner, on va bâtir cette virus, on va avoir notre vie va être réalisée d'une façon on était content de vivre ensemble avec nos amis, avec notre famille. Ça va venir bientôt, mais seulement si on va respecter tous les règlements. But here in Côte Saint-Luc, we try to make your life continue to the best of our ability in the most normal way that it can be. So we're having recreation services and we're having library services and we give them online and we do them by phone and we post them all over the place. And we want you to know that there are all types of ways for you to be taken care of with respect to the most important item, which is food. We want to make sure that you have food. I want to thank Councillor Gajewski for leading in terms of delivering food to people who can't get the deliveries and don't have family here to help them deliver the food. And then we have food baskets from the NDG Depot. We have Federation CJN. We have Matas, Seder in a Box, and the list goes on. But the numbers are out there. I'm not going to give them here. You've heard them on the robocalls. You see them in the Suburban. You see them on our posts. There are so many ways for you to contact us to make sure that you're taken care of, because we want to make sure that everybody in Côte Saint-Luc, no matter where you live, no matter who you are, whether you're a Canadian, a permanent resident, a refugee, whoever you are, we want to make sure that you're fed, that you have your medicine, that you're taken care of, and that you also have a quality of life, that you can participate in all the programming that we have to offer. Now, the provincial government has made it very clear that they're going to be very tough in terms of police enforcement. They have strong powers. You have to realize, first they took away RV cops and said it's too dangerous for them to go out. Then they said no emergency medical services because we don't have the protection and they don't want them to get the COVID virus. Then they made it very clear that public security are not the enforcers for many reasons, including they don't want them to get the COVID virus. But the enforcement individuals, and Premier Legault is very clear, are the police. And they are being vigilant, and they're coming through our streets, and they're making sure that we don't travel between regions, and they're doing all the things that they need to do, and we need to help them. We need to help them, and we know what we have to do. So I'm asking you all to continue to do. I want to thank the leadership. I want to thank the leadership, not only federal and provincial, but all local leadership, whether it be the religious leadership, community leadership. Everybody is sending the same message. So I thank you. But my biggest thanks goes to all the doctors and the nurses and all those in the front lines and all the essential services that are out there risking their lives for our benefit to ensure that we can soon beat this virus and come back to having the normal life that we've all loved to enjoy in our city, in Quebec, in Canada, and around the world. So we pray for all the human race. We're all in this together, and I thank you. And I know there's some of the other councillors that want to say a few words, so before we go to question period, I will open the floor to any councillor that wishes to speak. Councillor Torchman. Councillor Cohn after.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to reiterate some of the mayor's comments. The provincial leadership has been tremendous. François Legault has been a real leader in this, and I want to thank him. I want to thank all of our community leaders, the religious leaders that have taken the actions necessary. I want to particularly thank all the frontline staff, nurses, doctors, all of the hospital workers, but the grocers, the local merchants, the people that are helping our residents really tend to their every needs. And our staff has been absolutely fantastic. I won't go on too long. One thing that I learned in my relief work abroad was when communities are faced with difficulties and they come together, they build a better community at the end of it. And that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to a bigger and stronger community that's going to stand together. So just want to put that out there and thank everybody for all of their hard work. Thank you.
That happened. Thank you, Councillor Torchman. Councillor Cohen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First off, I'd like to echo Councillor Torchman's comments, and I want to thank all of our citizens, especially those who have really been making an effort to comply with the regulations in terms of social distancing and not leaving their home. I'm seeing an improvement. All of us are getting lots of calls and lots of emails from people who are concerned, people who are seeing things they don't want to see. I think slowly but surely people are falling into line, and I hope that continues. I just want to let people know in Côte Saint-Luc who are not aware that on my blog, mikecohen.ca, I am doing COVID updates several times a week, and I'll continue to do so. I also wanted to share that Councillor Torgman and I have agreed to split up District 8. We all know that Councillor Kovac passed away. There was a by-election scheduled for April, but it's been postponed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. So we have split the district up until further notice, and I will be taking east of Cavendish, and David Torchman will take west of Cavendish. It's already kind of started on its own. We've both been getting lots of calls, just so people in those districts know that there's someone they can go to. Of course, they can call City Hall first. Anyone can, and we have frontline staff who are doing a fantastic job in terms of answering those questions. But if you need to speak to a counselor, we'll be there. And one last thing I'd like to say is I'd like to thank the media, which I'm part of in another life. Our radio and television stations, English and French, doing an absolutely fantastic job. Media is an essential service. The Montreal Gazette, the Suburban, which continues to publish, and congratulations to their entire staff. And I want to wish the best to everyone from the Canadian Jewish News, which is publishing its last edition this week. And it did have some very good information on COVID-19. So we're very lucky to be well served by our media. And my last thanks to all of our staff, and notably Darryl Levine, whose innovations have allowed us to really get our message across. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I lost my screen somehow.
Mr. Mayor, can I go next?
Sure, go ahead, Councillor Erdeling.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to echo some of the points that were made. First, I want to again thank the first line workers, the health professionals. I want to thank those people that are working in grocery stores that are making sure the food is there for residents, those that are supplying the food as well. And I also want to take a moment to thank our city administration. They've been working day and night, making sure that our citizens are safe, making sure that their needs are being met. And it starts at the top with our city manager, our associate city manager, our co-city manager, all the directors, including the treasurer, director of public works, and so on, and all the staff, the library staff that have taken on different roles, the finance staff, and so on. So I want to thank them for their time. I also want to reiterate one of the points the mayor alluded to, that, and our director, and I should mention our director of public safety as well, Philip Chateauvert. So thank you to Philip. I also want to reiterate one of the points that was made earlier by the mayor. We are still seeing the effect of the first wave of COVID-19 as it hits Côte Saint-Luc. I worry already about a second wave. And I know as a city, we've mentioned this many times, but I want to say it once more. We are approaching the holiday of Passover. We're approaching Easter as well. I know it is a time for many to get together. And I know it's a time where families will come together. They'll celebrate traditional meals or traditional events. My hope is that this year families will take a break from that, find a different way to celebrate just with their own immediate family, those that live in their house, so that they may celebrate next year and in future years. At each celebration in the Jewish religion, you thank God that you're able to celebrate together, that you have the opportunity to have this celebration. And I hope that by exercising social distancing and by following these rules, that families will be able to celebrate many more of these celebrations for years and years to come. So I urge residents to please keep that in mind, again, especially with the holidays approaching in the coming week. Now it is even more important than before to remember these rules and these guidelines. And I know that residents will hopefully follow them. And of course, I think it will continue to be successful in flattening the curve and helping keep our Côte Saint-Luc residents safe. And I hope everyone will remember this moving forward. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Sabag and then Councillor Burku.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I too thank kind of everybody that were already mentioned. We all try to innovate. We all try to change the way we've been doing things. And I see this in teachers, in social workers, and even some members of council. My message is a little bit different today. It's more of a community message. And, you know, they do say that this is unprecedented times. And I believe in one sense they are not. We've, as a human race, we've always been challenged, whether in warfare, financially, or from a well-being perspective. We always overcome. And I think Côte Saint-Luc as a city will come out even stronger in the years to come. As we do so, we also see the true colors of some people. Some people will volunteer. Some people will be a little bit more reserved. Some people would head to the front lines, and some people will hate. And we've seen this on social media. We've seen even the hate being used in media itself. It promotes it, and it's unfair to us as a community. I want to remind everybody that hate promotes hates. And we as a community will exacerbate this type of behavior and this type of sentiment. And the more we continue to finger point, that more the sentiment will rise. There's no question mistakes were made. People got sick. Some even passed away. But the way the media capitalizes it from our own finger pointing makes me personally sick, and we will all ultimately pay for this. So tonight I'm asking for our community to hold off on the hate, to unite together as a community to help fight this terrible disease. We already try not to contaminate each other with COVID-19. Let's not try and contaminate each other with hostility and resentment. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Sabag. Councillor Burku.
Dita, you're on mute.
You're on mute. You're on mute. Unmute.
Unmute. Oh, bonsoir. You can hear me? Yeah, okay. So, je vais lire un texte. Peut-être que je ne vais pas regarder directement dans la caméra, mais j'ai préparé quelques mots. Avec cette pandémie, je veux dire à tous les citoyens de Côte Saint-Luc et ceux qui nous écoutent que nous sommes très réunis et je suis très fière du maire et de mes collègues et de l'administration de notre ville et de toute l'équipe qui soutient nos efforts ici à Côte Saint-Luc. Et je voudrais réitérer ce que le conseiller Sebag vient de nous annoncer aussi par rapport à la pandémie, pas en particulier la pandémie de COVID, mais la pandémie au niveau des pensées, de la discrimination qu'on vit actuellement à Côte Saint-Luc. Côte Saint-Luc has the highest rate of infection per Quebec. We know it. I want to highlight that council knew this. We knew it before even we had our first case. We knew we had all the risk factors in a very potent combination. That's just the luck of the draw. We had the seniors, we had the snowbirds, we had the cross-border travel, we had the religious places of worship, we had the holidays where thousands of people were celebrating. We knew Côte Saint-Luc would be affected. And that is why we were the first city and the only city to declare a state of emergency in March 17th. We reduced the cap for social gatherings to 10 when it was 250 across the province. And the government said, why are you so special? Manishtana. Why is Côte Saint-Luc so special? We knew then, even before there was one case in Côte Saint-Luc that we knew about, why Côte Saint-Luc was so special. And we know now that our residents are listening. We have their full support and their compliance. And the next few days and weeks are going to be even more critical. I'd like to reiterate what Councillor Sebag has just said. The time to blame and shame is over. It has to stop on our social media because it is infecting the media all across the province. Our community is not responsible for the virus. It just spreads faster in communities that live and thrive in togetherness. Normally, this is our strength, but this time it raised the risk of transmission. Ça a augmenté le risque de la transmission parce qu'on vit ensemble en communauté et on est très serré en communauté. And of all of us now have understood the risk, I can tell you, I am happy, and many of you, my co-religionists will understand this, that this pandemic did not break out after our traditional Passover celebrations, where literally our entire community would have been infected from Seder table to Seder table. So you see, it could have been worse. There is still someone out there looking out for us. So we must welcome the holidays with open hearts as we approach these two very special holidays of Easter and Passover, which this year coincide on our calendars. And we look to our spiritual leaders for guidance, and their message is clear. This Easter and Passover will be very different, very different. We will be home and turn our homes into sanctuaries. We will stay separate physically, but be together in our hearts. And as Rabbi Pupko says, if we want to be together next year, we have to stay apart this year. And as Father Laviolette says, the parish priest of St. Richard's Parish, has written to his congregants and will be sending it out to all our residents. We must stay safe and keep others safe by respecting the public health guidelines. This will be our way of opening our hearts, but keeping our families safe. I wish you all a very happy and healthy Easter and Passover, and let's celebrate the holidays this year more than ever with meaning and conviction, and bring joy into our hearts and into our homes. Et je vous souhaite tous joyeuse Pâques et joyeuse fête. Merci.
Thank you, Councillor Burku. Councillor Kajewski.
I'll be brief because the quicker we finish, the quicker I get to go to IGA to pack grocery orders. So I would like to just quickly thank my sister, Federation CJ, and David Lisbona for stepping up. Many of you have heard of the initiative we took on. It started off as a grassroots thing. It's grown into, last count, about 120 volunteers. Further to what Councillor Seabag and Councillor Burku said regarding social media, I've tried to stop looking as often as I would normally look at social media, but I would say to everyone out there who is spending a lot of screen time these days, is every time you pick up the iPad or the computer and you think about commenting or posting, think about how much better you can spend your time. What I've learned most is about efficiency. Have everybody doing what they're best at doing. Volunteers at night can pack groceries, whereas the staff from IGA have gone home. Everybody doing what they're best at doing is what's going to get us further and make us accomplish more. So instead of typing that comment on Facebook, close it down, send an email to my sister or I, or call us on our volunteer line and come and volunteer. Pack a grocery order, deliver a grocery order to a senior in need, and it'll get us all into a much better position than we are now. That is all. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kajewski. Councillor Ben-Israel.
Monsieur le maire, je vais peut-être me répéter, mais je crois que c'est important de le mentionner. J'aimerais remercier vraiment tout le leadership de Côte Saint-Luc, le maire, ses conseillers, toute l'équipe de staff qui vraiment travaille d'arrache-pied pour leur soutien durant cette crise de pandémie. Et je pense que c'est important dans cette période, vraiment, je crois qu'on l'écoute souvent, mais on devrait le répéter, de vraiment rester confiné et de garder ses distances. Je sais que c'est un moment très difficile pour tout le monde, mais je suis sûr qu'on passera à travers. Et j'aimerais souhaiter à tous nos résidents de joyeuses fêtes, de Pâques et de Pessah. Voilà, alors merci et merci encore à tout le monde.
Thank you, councillors, for all your wonderful words. And they were heartfelt, as everybody heard. We're all working hard as a team. I'm very blessed to have this wonderful council and a wonderful staff. and everybody is working 24/7 in our own special way. And as like Councillor Kajawski said, he's the grocery man with his sister and David Lisbona, but there's so many other things that we're doing, whether it's you want to volunteer to do care calls. There's so many lonely people that would just love receiving a call every day. Our list just keeps on getting bigger. They don't have anybody, no family, no friends really left around in Montreal, and they really love that call that they get every day. There's things that you can do. Each one I know, some people are singing music, they're giving courses. We're giving all types of courses online. We have this phone call every day where you can call in if you're not savvy on the internet. And today was Joe Schwartz. So every day there's something else, and you just listen to it on the phone, you call on in, and you participate by phone. So there's all types of volunteer opportunities. And there's also, as Mitch was alluding to, Councillor Kajawski, there's things that you're good at. I mean, maybe you're a fitness instructor, maybe you're a yoga instructor, maybe you teach piano, maybe you're a singer and you want to teach voice. There's things that you're good at. So take advantage of all that you can offer the people that you know, and also reach out to your friends and family around the world, make those calls, connect with the people that you've been close with from when you were young until today, and that maybe you haven't stayed in touch with. Now is the time to really reach out to people and be good and kind. So thank you all for your kind words, and together we're going to be a better people in a better place. And now I'm going to move on to the question period, and I have received some questions. If there's others, they could be sent, as I said, to questionperiod@CoteSaintLuc.org. The questions I have so far are as follows. The first one, my niece lives in a condo in Côte Saint-Luc. She is a social worker whose job is considered an essential service. She has to go to work Monday to Friday. Her husband is working from their condo. They have a 21-month-old boy and a 5-year-old girl. He cannot safely work and take care of the children while he works. They have a lady who is coming Monday to Friday from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. to take care of the kids until she returns from work. The condo board in her building has denied the caregiver entry into the building. They are allowing caregivers for elderly co-owners and repair people to enter their building. Is this legal? Can the board arbitrarily choose who is eligible for a caregiver? Now, we're very fortunate in Côte Saint-Luc to be in contact with both the health authority, Dr. Kaiser, now on a weekly basis, and the head of the police authority, which is Rick Liebman. And they are constantly in contact with us, answering our questions based on provincial law, which changes all the time. But the provincial law that exists right now is very clear that nobody is allowed to visit into your home. So we asked Dr. Kaiser, what does that mean? So he said, well, that means that you cannot have somebody to clean, somebody to take care of your kids, somebody to come into your house. So if you're working from home, even if it's from 9 to 3 and you're the one spouse working from home, the rule right now is you're not allowed to have that nanny. It means that you're not going to work as efficiently. It means that you're going to have a harder time. So are the people that are separated apart from their loved ones at Maimonides Hospital and haven't seen their parents and grandparents for weeks because the health authority feels that it's safer and that those individuals will not have as much of a chance to get COVID-19 as if they would allow them or their caregivers, their personal caregivers, into those establishments. So these are rules that are set out by the Department of Health in order to protect us all from getting COVID-19. So the rule as it stands is no. The next question is it okay for a caregiver to go for an elderly person in a building? Well, that, from Dr. Kaiser's opinion, is based on if that elderly person requires it for health reasons. If the elderly person can't live on their own and requires care in order to be able to live, then that person's allowed in. The elderly person could live independently and is just having that person in to clean the house, then that person shouldn't go in. Now, how do you define all this? Well, that's a tough thing to do. But the only people with the authority for enforcement are the police. The provincial government has made it very clear that it's only a police that can enforce. So when your condo board tells you what they believe is the correct way to behave. If they want to have verification or enforcement of that issue, it's only the police that can do it, unless you've signed on to something when you signed on as becoming a co-owner in a particular condo, and you should check your condo bylaws. But in terms of enforcement, it's the police that are the enforcers, and the law is saying right now that you're not allowed visitors. In fact, they've even gone so far as to they're in the process of preparing a letter from the health authority to be sent to all apartments and all condos, explaining that they want somebody at the door, whether it's the janitor or the person, what's the name of the person at the doorman, or the doorman, or a security at the door of every apartment and condo, in order to regulate visitors, because they don't want any visitors in. The laws right now says no visitors in. So that one visitor that might be allowed in, it really has to meet very special criteria in order to pass that front door. Because the rule right now is no visitors, not to clean your house, not to care for your children, not to cook your food, nothing. That's the law right now. That's the law the way it's written right now. The next question is, Passover is soon upon our community. It is unfortunate the spread of the virus in Côte Saint-Luc. How will the city persuade Jewish families? My concern is predominantly with Orthodox community who have already, okay, I'm not going to read anything negative, but I'll read the basis of the question. How will it be reinforced during the Seders? Only immediate living, same isolation condo buildings. For example, I live with my 2 children and mother, so will it be a Seder of 4, including myself? How do we prevent children from going out of our community into parks? I do not mean to discriminate. Okay. All right. So we have made it very clear, as has been said today, that whether it's a Passover Seder or a dinner for Easter or any other dinner, you need to only celebrate with the people in your home. If you're able to use Zoom because it's not a religious day or it's not against your religious beliefs, sure, you can connect through technology using Zoom or another technology, but you are not allowed, once again, any visitors in your home. And how we are enforcing that is, first of all, again, it's the police, and they have assured us that they will be roaming our streets. They will be roaming our streets, particularly on those nights, looking for anything that seems against the law. And they will enforce with breaking up any illegal gatherings and giving fines of between $1,000 and $6,000. In terms of parks, our playgrounds are closed and they're all fenced off. So that is not something that people are able to go into at this time. And I have to really thank the leadership in the city of Côte Saint-Luc in terms of religious leadership. They're all on board. We meet together on Zoom once a week. We go over all the issues, and every single religious leader of all faiths are sending the same message. They are united in our effort to rid the city, the province, and Canada and the world of the virus, and they are sending the message to all of their congregants to follow all rules, all regulations. So I want a big shout out to our religious leaders who are working very, very hard. And as Councillor Burku explained, the past is the past. This happened based on the way we live, which in good times is a wonderful way to live, because we do congregate, we do celebrate tightly and closely and dance together and sing together. And this is wonderful in normal times. Nobody's fault. The past was what it was. You know, I was speaking to the media and I was saying during the same time that we were celebrating in Côte Saint-Luc, and Councillor Burkwood pointed this out, you know, there was 2,500 people congregating at the Montreal Symphony Orchestra. And I'm sure the virus was passing there through at the same time. It was the same dates as, let's say, Purim in Côte Saint-Luc. But, you know, we don't know where those 2,500 people were going. So the past is the past. Everybody was doing what they felt they were allowed to do at the time, and now everyone is doing what they know they're allowed to do based on the present rules. And if they're not, they risk serious charges from the police. And worse than that, they risk the knowledge that they'll be spreading the virus. So people have to follow the rules. En tant que résident de Côte Saint-Luc, je suis très préoccupé par la propagation du virus dans notre ville. Je comprends que plusieurs mesures ont été prises, notamment la fermeture des parcs et de IGA, et je salue les dispositions de test au volant. Par contre, je n'ai pas vu de campagne ni de partage d'informations formelles de ville. Voici mes questions. J'aimerais connaître vos stratégies de sensibilisation de la population locale. Est-ce que l'équipe de sécurité publique et d'autres travailleurs de la ville ont un rôle à jouer? Comment maximiser vous l'utilisation de réseaux sociaux? Ok, c'est premièrement, comme tout le monde savait très bien, on a une très grande campagne dans le suburban avec des robocalls que je fais chaque semaine. On a fait 5 jusqu'à date sur l'Internet et avec des lettres. Et je pense que tout le monde était au courant de les règles. La question maintenant, c'est l'enforcement. Et ça, c'est le police qui doit le faire. Et comme on a dit toujours, c'est pas quelque chose de mal quand vous appelez la police, vous sauvez des vies, quand vous voyez qu'il y a une règle qui n'est pas respectée. Et on donne le numéro toujours 514 280 0109. Ça, c'est pour la station 9. Ou si c'est urgent, que vous savez quelqu'un qui a la COVID-19, vous pouvez toujours appeler le 911 si quelqu'un avec le COVID-19 est dans la circulation dans la ville. Deuxièmement, la ville représente une source d'activité récréative pour les enfants et les aînés dans la communauté. Est-ce que la ville planifie des initiatives pour nous aider à s'adapter à l'annulation de toutes ces activités? Des courses en ligne et tout ça. Oui, certainement, comme je vous avais expliqué pendant cette conseil, qu'on a beaucoup des activités en ligne et des activités au téléphone. Et notre bibliothèque et notre récréation va continuer d'augmenter le niveau des cours. On va avoir beaucoup plus de cours et aussi je sais que la Société dramatique va faire quelque chose. Il va avoir beaucoup plus des activités sur l'Internet et vous pouvez contacter ces activités aussi avec le téléphone. Troisièmement, quel est votre plan pour remplacer non seulement une augmentation de la vague auquel il y a une deuxième vague plus tard? On travaille étroitement avec le directeur de santé publique, la direction de santé publique, et on respecte toutes les règles. On est très chanceux d'avoir une bonne relation, pas seulement avec eux, mais aussi avec le CIUS, Dr. Rosenberg, Dr. Kaiser, et ils ont un plan. Ils ont un plan qui est mieux que des autres pays. Et on va avoir, si on va respecter tous les règlements que le gouvernement nous donne en conseil avec ses docteurs et avec le CES et avec la direction de santé publique, on va réussir de empêcher l'augmentation de la vague. Okay, now we have another question. That was from Isabel Sear. This is from Toby Schulman. Do we have a counselor who is in charge of public health and safety? That's Oren Sabag. Have our own police given out any tickets that far? Our police give out tickets. I don't have the exact numbers. But
Mr. Mayor, just a clarification on the title. It's not public health.
It's not public health, right? It's not public health, but Oren Sabag is in charge of the dossier. That is public safety is his portfolio. In terms of how many tickets our police has given out, I don't have those numbers. Philip Chadover could possibly find those out. How can we see a copy of our emergency preparedness plan? It is online, and I'm sure Darryl Levine can give you the link. Okay. So those were the questions we have from before the meeting. Once again, we will take questions after the meeting if anybody has any questions related to the agenda. And I'm now going to the agenda. So now that there is no further questions, I will go to item number 2, which is approval of the minutes. Item number 2A, B, and C. Councillor Cohen.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I will move that the minutes from the March 16th meeting, as well as the special meetings on March 17th and March 20th, be approved.
Moved by Councillor Cohen, seconded by Councillor Torchman. Any discussion? All in favor? Anyone opposed? Carried unanimously. We move to item number 3, business arising from the minutes. Item 4 is the monthly departmental reports. Councillor Kajewski,
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
seconded by Councillor Erdely. Any discussion on the departmental reports? Anybody have any comments on departmental reports? No? Okay, so moved and seconded. All in favor? Councillor Cohen, in favor? Anyone opposed? Carried unanimously. We move to item number 5, which is financial services. 5A, resolution to approve the disbursements for March 2020. Councillor Erdely.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Be it resolved that Côte Saint-Luc City Council approves the attached list of disbursements for the period of March 1st, 2020 to March 31st, 2020 for a total amount of $18,439,949.40 in Canadian funds, and that treasurer certificate number 20-0061 dated March 30th, 2020 has been issued by the city treasurer attesting to the availability funds to cover the described expenses.
Moved by Councillor Erdely, seconded by Councillor Burku. Any discussion?
So just to mention, Mr. Mayor, the largest item in the monthly disbursements for March is the first payment to the agglomeration, which is approximately $14 million. We also have the first payment for the CMM as well. So those are the 2 largest items last month.
Thank you, Councillor Erdely. Moved and seconded. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Carried unanimously. We move to item 5B. Councillor Erdely. The notice of motion and a tabling.
Yeah, so thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll do the notice of motion, the tabling, and then there's a resolution as well. So first, I hereby give notice of motion that bylaw 2548-1 to be entitled bylaw amending bylaw 2548 concerning taxes of the city of Côte Saint-Luc for the fiscal year 2020 will be presented at a later meeting for adoption. And furthermore, I hereby table draft bylaw 2548-1 to be entitled bylaw amending bylaw 2548 concerning taxes of the city of Côte Saint-Luc for the fiscal year 2020.
Thank you, Councillor Erdely, and you can go and explain that.
So maybe I'll do, Mr. Mayor, maybe I'll do the next resolution and then I'll explain all of it because I think it'll be easier to explain all the pieces that way.
Sure.
So I'll move on.
Seconded.
No, this is a notice of motion and a tabling that we're doing now, right, Councillor Erdely?
Yeah.
5B.
Yeah, so I'm going to continue now. I'm going to go on to the resolution and then I'll explain all the different parts of this item.
Thank you.
Be it resolved that Côte Saint-Luc City Council approves the reduction of the interest rate on overdue amounts, excluding transfer duties, invoices issued after January 31st, 2020 as follows: that the interest rate on unpaid municipal taxes and transfer duties be revised to 5% per annum, payable daily effective March 15, 2020, and that the revised interest rate remains in effect until May 24, 2020.
Okay. But Maître Schechter, there's no seconding here, right?
For this one, we need a seconder, actually, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, there is a seconder that's required for the resolution, but Mr. Mayor, you are correct. For the notice in motion and the tabling, no seconder is required.
Okay, so moved by Councillor Erdely, seconded by Councillor Burku. Any discussion, Councillor Erdely?
So now I'll explain the different measures that the city is putting in place. So the first measure that we are officially that we are putting out a notice of motion for today and a tabling of a draft bylaw is to push back the date of the second installment for municipal taxes. So the second installment was originally due on May 25th, and it'll be pushed back to June 29th. Now, what we are actually doing, because, and it's a bit complicated, but because we cannot change the date, what we're doing is in effect saying that between May 25th and June 29th, there'll be zero interest or zero penalties. So in other words, anyone can pay their second installment by June 29th, and there won't be any penalty, any extra fees to be paid for that. So that's the first part. The second part is with regard to transfer duties or welcome tax. So this affects any welcome tax bill that a resident has received that was put out from the beginning of March up until now. So any resident who's received a welcome tax bill in the last few weeks, there'll be no interest and penalty, and that will extend until June 29th. So again, if you received it in the last few days, if you have yet to pay it, please note that we are extending it interest-free and penalty-free till June 29th. And the third part is that any welcome tax that the city has received the paperwork for, we are going to hold off on sending it until the middle of June so that it'll only be due in July. So again, if someone just recently purchased a house and is expecting that welcome tax, we're going to delay it a few more weeks or a few months so that it'll only be due in July. And the fourth part is that anyone, if they do have some outstanding tax bill that, let's say, for example, they were late in paying the first installment or installments from previous years, we are lowering the interest rate from 10% to 5%. So we're basically cutting the interest rate in half, at least until June 29th.
So moved and seconded, all in favor? Councillor Sabag? Anyone opposed? Carried unanimously. Okay. So you did the resolution and the notice of motion and tabling. Okay. So now we move on to the legal services, section 6A. 6A would be Councillor Burko, authorization to settle a litigation. Councillor Burko, 6A.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. You can hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I have to switch screens so I don't see you. Whereas the City of Côte Saint-Luc instituted proceedings against the City of Montreal on October 5th, 2018, said proceedings bearing docket number 500-17-10-5068-186, whereas in the spirit of collaboration, Côte Saint-Luc and Montreal wish to amicably resolve the aforementioned proceedings. It is hereby resolved that the Côte Saint-Luc City Council hereby accepts an offer of settlement from the City of Montreal in the amount of $85,000 in capital interest and costs, and that the Director of Legal Services or the City's General Counsel be and is hereby authorized to sign any documents giving effect to the foregoing.
Moved by Councillor Burku, seconded by Councillor Erdely. Any discussion?
Yeah, so I just want to explain that there was a sinkhole which broke into a major pipe behind the Côte Saint-Luc Shopping Center. And this is a pipe that we inherited from the City of Montreal from when we were merged. And so we did take a lawsuit against the City of Montreal, and certain amounts were paid by other parties. And so we settled that lawsuit now for $85,000. And obviously the pipe has been fixed and repaired. And so we've resolved the matter. And thank you very much to Jonathan Schechter for managing this dossier to a very positive conclusion.
So moved and seconded, all in favor? Anyone opposed? Carried unanimously. And now we move to the next item, which is 6B. Councillor Cohen.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'm very pleased to move this motion that bylaw 2553, entitled bylaw 2553, amending bylaws 2394, 2508, and 2539, in order to oblige all cats and dogs to be microchipped on the territory of Côte Saint-Luc, be adopted.
Moved by Councillor Cohen, seconded by Councillor Kajowski. Any discussion, Councillor Cohen?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. This is something that the City of Montreal adopted, and as soon as they did, we had a number of people at the local vet questioning whether it was law in Côte Saint-Luc. It was very important that we do this because a cat or a dog could just go, get loose, go across the street, and the Montreal bylaw would apply. But most importantly, especially, we've been having the issue with the cats committee for many years where a cat is picked up by our committee, might belong to someone, and without a microchip, we have no idea if they belong to anyone or not. They might lose that cat. It would go up for adoption. So this is very important. A microchip is an electronical device encoded and inserted under the animal skin by a vet, and it allows the code to be linked to a central database to identify and list domestic animals in the territory. It's painless. It's very, very quick. The way this works, I believe, Maitre Schechter, is that we adopted today, and I believe there's a 12-month grace period for people to do this, but is that correct, Maitre Schechter?
That is correct.
So basically what I'm doing, I mean, really right now, people are not making occasional visits to the vet, but a vet is considered an essential service. So if a dog or cat is up for a checkup, you could go. And when you go, I recommend that you get that chip put in right away. The prices are very good, especially at your own vet, especially at the Côte Saint-Luc Hospital for Animals. And this is very, very important. We've had so many cases of dogs and cats being lost. So please do this. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Cohen. So it's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Carried unanimously. And we move to item 6C. Councillor Cohen.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I'm just going down my agenda to get the next item, so I will have it in front of me regarding this is the Dangerous Dog Bylaw, and I've got it right in front of me, so I will read it in momentarily. I am almost there. It reads, sorry, I'm just moving it down here. I'm almost there. There we go. So I'll read it out. Whereas bylaw number 2508, entitled Bylaw to Regulate Dogs, was adopted by the Côte Saint-Luc Council on June 11, 2018. Whereas it is expedient to replace the aforementioned bylaw in order to include new provisions to be consistent with provincial regulations. Whereas a notice of motion was given to the present bylaw at a regular sitting of City Council held on April 6, 2020, that it be ordained and enacted as bylaw 2555, entitled Bylaw 2055 to replace Bylaw 2508 concerning the regulation of dogs as follows. And I'm not going to read the whole bylaw. It's a long one. We'll post it on our website, but I would like to move that, Mr. Mayor, and I'll give some more information.
That's a notice of motion and a tabling of a draft bylaw.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
so you did the notice of motion and tabling. Okay, very good. Thank you. And now
I'm
we,
just wondering, Mr. Mayor, should I wait till the next meeting to give more details on this? Is that the procedure you'd like me to follow, or should I give the public a little bit more, for a little bit of a tidbit of information as to why we're doing this?
it's up to you. Fine.
I'll be brief and we'll do more next month, but basically the provincial government has made new laws regarding dogs, and specifically dangerous dogs. So we must bring our bylaws regarding dogs into place. And so that is what we've done right now. And it's very, in specifically dealing with declaring a dog potentially dangerous, and the orders that a city can give once a dog is declared potentially dangerous, the applicable norms for dogs that are declared potentially dangerous, increased fines for any infractions to articles pertaining to potentially dangerous dogs. And as noted, it will be subsequently adopted at the May 11th, 2020 public meeting, at which time I'll provide more information. We will publish all the information. I'm sure it'll be in the Suburban Maitre Schechter once we adopt it. And it's very important. I know our dog owners committee, I had a meeting just before the pandemic with the committee, before we were shut down, and they were all in line with this. Of course, we don't have a choice. This is not our bylaw. This is a law from the government, and we're just falling into place. The local vets will play a very important role, and it's a good law, and I commend the provincial government for enacting it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Cohen. And now we'll move on to item 6D. Jonathan Schechter. Maitre Schechter?
Yes, I would like to hereby confirm that ministerial order number 2020-003 of the Minister of Health and Social Services dated March 14th of 2020 is being tabled at tonight's council meeting. It relates to the postponement of all by-elections in the province of Quebec due to the COVID-19 virus, including the by-election for District 8 in the city of Côte Saint-Luc.
Thank you, Councillor. Thank you, Maitre Schechter. Okay, and now we're going to move on to item number 7, Public Works. 7A, Councillor Benizri.
Merci, Monsieur le maire. Est résolu que le conseil municipal de la ville de Côte Saint-Luc octroie par la présente un contrat pour l'achat d'un camion balai de rue neuf à Cubex Limited, le seul soumissionnaire conformément aux conditions de l'appel d'offres C-17-20 pour un montant total de 254 977 $ plus les taxes applicables. Que les dépenses décrites seront financées par le règlement d'emprunt 2547 déjà approuvé par le ministère des Affaires municipales et Habitation. Que le certificat du trésorier numéro TC-20-0060 daté du 26 mars 2020 a été émis par le trésorier de la ville, attestant la disponibilité des fonds pour couvrir les dépenses décrites.
Proposé par le conseiller Benizri et appuyé par le conseiller Kajaski, je pense. Oui. Est-ce qu'il y a des discussions?
No, this is just maybe just to mention, this is the purchase of a new sweeper truck for Public Works.
Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Carried unanimously. We move to 7B. 7B is Councillor Burku.
Thank you. Oh, just a second. Just a second. Oh, I'm on. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Merci. Il est proposé que le règlement 2537, intitulé Règlement 2537 régissant la collecte et l'élimination des matières résiduelles, soit et par les présentes adopté. C'est tout. Merci.
Moved by Councillor Burku, seconded by Councillor Benizri.
Okay, so I'm going to just speak to this, Mr. Mayor. Ever since we adopted our waste bylaw many, many years ago, Councillor Erdely will tell me the date exactly when we introduced composting and new rules regarding waste. We have been trying to improve our waste management system. And the AGLO, the Agglomeration of Montreal, and the CMM, which is the regional board of the island and also the North and South Shores, also have waste management plans that we need to conform to. We have a legal obligation to conform to these waste management plans and the objectives of these plans. And so in order to do this, we had to review our waste bylaw and make things more efficient. So one of the things we did is we introduced household waste receptacles that we are going to make compulsory for all households. I know now's not a time to talk about, new obligations on the residents, but nonetheless, we've been working on this for many months, and this bylaw is only going to come into effect in February 2021. So some of the innovations in this bylaw are the household waste receptacles, both 120 liter and 240 liter, which each household will have and in which they will put their garbage, not the recycling, not the composting, but their residual waste. We're also going to create safe and economically and environmentally responsible operations for front load collection, especially at the apartment buildings, where there's been all kinds of receptacles that have been left out. We want to make everything harmonized and uniform so that it could be more efficient for our public works department. We also want to regulate the public works yard with rules originating from the AGLO with regard to what we can and cannot accept at our center. And we also want to present a legal framework to support public works in implementing the operational aspects of the current and future services offered to residents, institutional establishments, and commercial establishments. Basically, what that means is that we would like to expand our services to all the schools and institutions and also to some commercial establishments. And we need a legal framework in order to do this efficiently, and that's what this bylaw does. So pursuant to the notice of motion that was given at a previous council meeting on March 16th, the final bylaw is being submitted, and we will have it come into force, as I said, in February 2021. So we have plenty of time to inform and give all the information to the residents so they understand what the new bylaw entails. And I'm just going to go to one last point because it's a lot of numbers here that are circulating. One second, I'm almost there. So just wanted to say, yeah, so then I think I've covered it all. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Burku, seconded by Councillor Benizri, and all in favor. Councillor Sabag, all in favor? Anyone opposed? So that is carried. And now we move to item number 8, which is urban development. 8A, Councillor Torgman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That the City of Côte Saint-Luc hereby awards a contract for line painting services for the year 2020 in accordance with the terms of the tender number C-12-20C to Entreprise TRA Inc. for a total amount of $127,826.35 plus applicable taxes. That the treasurer certificate number TC 20-0062 dated March 31, 2020 has been issued by the Manager of Financial Operations, attesting to the availability of funds to cover the above described expenses.
Moved by Councillor Torgman, seconded by Councillor Sabag. Any discussion? Councillor Torgman, no?
Our line painting done.
Okay. All in favor? Anyone opposed? That's carried. And now we move on to item number 9. 9A, which I also have down as Councillor Torgman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm just going to get to the page. So it's a notice of motion and tabling. Que je donne un avis de motion que le règlement numéro 2345 à être intitulé règlement pour amender le règlement numéro 2345 régissant la démolition des immeubles dans la ville de Côte Saint-Luc afin de remplacer les textes des articles 3.3, 3.4, 4.0 et 5.4 par les nouveaux textes va être présenté à une réunion subséquente pour l'adoption. L'objectif de ce règlement est pour remplacer notamment la définition de démolition par une nouvelle définition, et ce, afin que les projets de rénovation majeurs d'un bâtiment du groupe d'usage résidentiel ne soient plus considérés comme étant une démolition au sens du présent règlement. And now the tabling of the draft, that in conformity with an act respecting land use and development, that the Council of City of Côte Saint-Luc hereby tables the draft bylaw number 2345-X to be entitled the bylaw to amend the bylaw number 2345 governing the demolition of buildings in the City of Côte Saint-Luc in order to replace the text of Articles 3.3, 3.4, 4.0, and 5.4 with the new text.
Thank you, Councillor Torgman. So that's a notice of motion and a tabling. Okay, Ms. Verschechter, everything's good? So now we're moving on to 9.1, 9.1A, Councillor Burka.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. So we only have one home on the PAC agenda for tonight. It's the project at, hang on, let me see where I can get it now. Oh, oh, sorry. It's, we don't have paper. I want everyone to understand we're going back and forth from one screen to the other. It's not so simple. Okay, so it's 5512 Hudson. And I will read, I'll read it, the resolution in French. Que le plan d'implantation, il est résolu que le plan d'implantation et d'intégration architecturale reçu le 11 mars 2020, montrant la construction d'un ajout d'une deuxième étage au-dessus d'un garage simple d'une habitation unifamiliale isolée sur le lot 105 32 92 au 5512 Hudson est préparé par M.N. Babatska, architecte, pour la réunion du comité consultatif d'urbanisme du 18 février 2020, soit approuvé conformément aux dispositions du chapitre 14 du règlement 2217 de la ville de Côte Saint-Luc.
Proposé par le conseiller Burku et appuyé par le conseiller Erdely. Est-ce qu'il y a des discussions?
Right, so this is an extension on elevation showing the construction of a second-story addition on top of the existing one-car garage of an existing single-family dwelling. And we're going to have to give it a minor exemption, although I don't see the minor exemption on the agenda, in order to allow the construction of a second-story addition without having to provide a two-car garage when the dwelling area is more than 1,800 square feet, excluding the area of the garage and the basement floor. I just want to...
Minor exemptions there, it's 9.2A.
Ah, okay. So the first part is to approve the elevation perspective, the look of it. And the second resolution, which will come up next, will be to give it the minor exemption. And it's unfortunate we can't post it on the screen. We'll try and do this next time we have this type of meeting, that we can post the...
I can put it on the screen if you would like, Mr. Mayor.
Sure.
Okay, I'm gonna do that.
Post it on the screen.
Well, why don't just give the perspective? You don't have to give the plans.
I'm gonna...
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. That's the side, that's the front, so everyone can see. And this is going to be a very nice addition to the street. The look and design were approved by our urban planning department, so it's going to be a very nice addition to the street, in keeping with the style of the house. Okay, thank you.
Okay, great. So moved by Councillor Burku and seconded by Councillor Erdely. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Carried unanimously. Now the minor exemption.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We'll go on to the minor exemption. Okay, now I'm going to read the minor exemption. Be it resolved that in accordance with the provisions of bylaw G18-005, the request for a minor exemption regarding the property located at 5512 Hudson, lot 105-3292 being is hereby approved. The whole is more amply delineated here under. The request is in order to allow for an existing detached single-family dwelling, the construction of a second-story addition without having to provide a minimum of 2 interior parking spaces. There is one already existing when the dwelling floor area is more than 1,800 square feet. The whole, notwithstanding the provisions of zoning bylaw 2217, Article 7-2-1A.
Moved by Councillor Burku, seconded by Councillor Erdely. Any further discussion?
Yeah, so basically this is just to approve the extension of the house over the garage and not to require that they add an extra interior parking space.
Thank you, Councillor Burku. Moved and seconded. All in favor? Anyone opposed? It's carried. And we move on to item number 10, which is a stance to be raised at the next agglomeration. Councillor Cohen.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I so move that council take the following stance in view of any agglomeration council meetings to be held in May 2020 as follows: to authorize the mayor or his duly authorized replacement to make any decisions he deems necessary and in the best interest of the city of Côte Saint-Luc and its residents regarding the items on the agenda of the agglomeration council meetings to be held in May 2020, based on the information to be presented during those meetings.
Moved by Councillor Cohen, seconded by Councillor Erdely. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried. Lots of agglomeration meetings now. That's for sure. We're busy with COVID-19. So now we move on to other business. Second question period, and I'd ask, oh, there's a document here he's giving me. Let's see if I can open it. It's easier if you just paste it into this page here, Daryl, if you could. Otherwise,
I'd like to ask Daryl while he's on the line, how many viewers do we have tonight? Does he know? $32. That's good. That's more than come to a council meeting. So it's good.
I don't, okay, 1 second.
We had 40, yeah, we had over 40 at one point, by the way. We were well over 40 at some
Good.
point during the
So,
COVID discussion.
Daryl, I believe I have one question here. What about post-dated checks in for the second installment? Will it be delayed in being deposited, or do I need to cancel my check? No, it will be automatically delayed to the next installment. We're not going to cash checks that were post-dated for the earlier date now that we've extended it to June 29. Any other?
Mr. Mayor, if I may add a point though,
Yes.
just a reminder for residents. So yeah, the mayor is correct. If someone sent a post-dated check, we'll hold that check and only do it on the later date. But a reminder, I know I'm a person who does this, and when I get a bill, I do an online payment, but I do it in advance, sort of like a post-dated online payment with my own bank through online banking. So what I'd recommend is for residents who do that to make sure to go and change the date with your respective bank through your web software. So whether you're with the Royal Bank or TD or whatever bank you're with, make that change if you've done it yourself, because that the city will not do. So I hope that's clear for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Erdely. The next question. See if there's any others. I see a question here from Jonathan Sar, and the question is there any news on the progress of the project to replace street lighting throughout the municipality? Not sure if that relates to the agenda, but it's fine. Which item? But anyway, what is the current timing of replacement of city street lamps? There are many street lamps which are either faulty or non-functioning, and they can lead to dark stretches on the streets where numerous lamps in a row are non-functioning. In addition, these non-functioning street lamps can be an eyesore. Appreciate all your work throughout the current situation, Jonathan Lazar. It's on our radar, but I think Councillor Erdely would want to give an update. So go ahead, Councillor Erdely.
So just to mention, the next phase in terms of the streetlight project are what we call the Cobra heads. So these are the main streetlights that are on, for example, Cavendish, that are on a stretch of Côte Saint-Luc Road that is solely in Côte Saint-Luc. It's also some of the streetlights, for example, on stretches of Kildare and Mackle. So that is the next phase. As far as how quickly that'll be done with what's happening right now with COVID-19, everything is delayed slightly, so we can't give you an exact timeline. But just so you know, the next phase is the Cobra heads, which are the streetlights on the main roads in Côte Saint-Luc.
Councillor Gajowski.
I'll tell Mr. Lazar what I tell all constituents who tell me that streetlights are burned out. It's a very common occurrence. We see a lot of that in District 5. Do what I did. I took a walk through a few months ago and just literally snapped a picture whenever I saw a bulb burned out. Take a picture of the plaque on the lamp and send it to either me, or you can send it directly to publicworks@cotesaintluc.org and copy me on the email if you'd like. And Public Works goes through periods where they blitz a whole series of bulbs, replacing the burned out bulbs. Obviously, we're not going to be doing it anytime soon, but hopefully once we get things rolling again later in the summer or in the fall, they'll go on a blitz and replace those bulbs that are burned out. So take pictures of the plaque, send them to Public Works, and they can keep a record and know exactly what needs to be replaced.
Right, and what Public Works deems as urgent for safety reasons would be taken care of during the pandemic. We also should note that at the last public council meeting, we did pass the contract for LED lighting. The question is, when will we get to implement? It depends. Everything's on hold in terms of allowing any type of construction to go on in the province until further notice. So we don't know what projects, even if they're passed, will get done this year. Okay, there are no further questions, so I'm going to ask for a mover to adjourn the meeting. Moved by Councillor Torgman, seconded by Councillor Cohen. All in favor? This meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for attending. May we continue to all be well and take care of ourselves and our loved ones in good health. And may we only have good news.
Happy Passover, happy,
Samach,
Happy
everybody.
Passover.
happy Easter.
Happy Easter. All the
Happy
best. Thank you. Bye-bye.